Our homes usually provide us with comfort and independence, but having an environment that's also safe is very essential. I'll provide some quick tips to consider when looking at the safety of a loved one's home or your own home. First of all, keep emergency numbers handy. In the event of an emergency, sometimes it's easy to forget phone numbers. So I would consider posting 911, poison control, healthcare providers, and family and friends phone numbers in a handy spot next to a phone or maybe on the table next to a chair that someone normally sits in. Also, make sure you check on the phones. Sometimes technology changes so quickly that something that may be simple to one of us may be very difficult for another person. So you may need to look at getting a phone with larger numbers and amplifier on it so they can hear better. There's large button phones that you can actually pre-program numbers in and just put a picture on, so they can just push that number that has that person's face on it. So that's things that you can consider doing with that. Look at your lighting. Make sure there's no burnt out light bulbs. Keep all the areas brightly lit so there's no dim areas. You could possibly consider putting motion lighting in hallways and bathrooms so that that's a huge risk when people get up at night and think that they can see to get there. Sometimes there's a lot of falls that happen in those areas. Make sure that all the areas are clean, open, and free of clutter. A lot of times people like throw rugs because they're very pretty, but that's a hazard, and so I would consider removing those. And avoid extension cords going across the flooring in the middle of a room. Accessibility is another area to look at. Make sure that if people have new medical equipment such as a cane, a walker, a wheelchair, those areas that they need to get into, like bathrooms, are definitely accessible without having the risk of falls. You may need to look at widening doorways, additional hand railing in the hallways, grab bars, like a raised toilet seat, and things like that, handheld shower wand. Stairs are also an area that are tricky and you should really pay attention to. Sometimes it's hard to differentiate where one step ends and the next one begins. So you can do contrasting paint colors to make it more noticeable. You can use colored duct tape, different colors to differentiate to make those a little bit safer. Other things to consider: make sure the batteries are working and smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. If people insist on having candles, maybe you could talk them into flameless candles so they don't have that fire risk if left unattended or forgotten. In entry areas and bathrooms especially, consider rubber mats so that, if the flooring gets wet, it's not as slippery. And different items that someone uses a lot, I would consider moving those to a lower level so that, don't have to use step stools and things like that. Especially with balance issues, it's hard if they reach above their heads. That can, cause a hazard for that. So most importantly, make sure you check on your family and friends. There's so many other things that can be out there, so many ideas and assistive technology that can be added into homes to keep people safer in their homes and so they can continue living in the community longer and safely. If you have any questions or would like more information about any of this, if you can give us a call at 517-592-1974, Region 2 Area Agency on Aging, and we'll be happy to help get some of the information to you. Thank you.